What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got for you episode 9 in the Bat Crazy Betty saga. And just in case you're wondering if it gets any less serious or any less crazy, it doesn't. It really doesn't. In fact, in the first post of today's episode, somebody finally, at last, gets properly arrested. So without further ado, sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss the next episode in this saga. I'll give you a bit of a warning as well. It may well be the last one, episode 10. Let's get into the first of 4 posts in this episode. An arrest has been made. Not the one we are all hoping for, but an arrest regardless. My ex called me to let me know that one of his uncles had shown up to his house and tried getting in. He banged on the door, tried to kick it in, and broke a window to get inside. My ex is currently at work, so he witnessed all of this on the Ring camera. He called the police and they came right away. They found his uncle climbing out of the window and he surrendered without incident. When I had a second, I checked it too, and I saw the playback of the uncle climbing out the window and putting his hands up as the police swarmed him. I could hear him saying that he was told to come and check on my ex because his mother was worried about him. My ex is now panicking, wondering what his uncle has done inside the house. He was in there for around 10 minutes before the police got there. I think it's safe to say that Betty is now going to be arrested for her involvement in this situation, and hopefully they have enough evidence to keep her there. My ex will now be coming to stay with me and my parents because I will not allow him to get hurt. I'm sure that that's what his uncle was planning if he'd actually been home. I did have a quick chat with the detective, and she assures me that she's doing all she can to bring this case to a speedy resolution and that she will speak to me on Monday when my ex and I go and see her. I watched the whole Ring footage. It's terrifying. He came in broad daylight and began beating on the door and yelling for Dan to come out. He said he wanted to talk and then tried to kick in the door when he got no response. He was yelling for me as well and calling me a female dog, and said he had something for me too. I'm so thankful that Dan called the police. I'm beyond worried at this point because a lot of Betty's relatives are just this brazen and crazy. Goodness me, that is terrifying stuff. I mean, apart from the time where Betty tried to run you over, this is probably the next occasion where potentially your life has been in danger. Wow. No word yet. Hey lovelies, thank you again for all of your words of concern, praise and advice. I can't respond to every comment, so I'll answer a few things here. I do have Dan staying with me for the time being. He is staying in the guest room, and no, we're not working on our marriage. I am still hurt, and he has a lot to make up for, but we're focusing on his recovery and the criminal case for the time being. My parents love him like a son they never had, and while they too have expressed some apprehension about him and I residing under the same roof again, they do understand he needs our help and support, because Ethel knows he won't get it from his own family. Don't worry, I'm maintaining strict boundaries and I'm keeping him at arm's length. My ex is an emotional wreck after what his uncle did. Thankfully, nothing was broken or missing when the police checked it out. On the advice of someone in the comments on the last post, we asked the police to conduct a sweep for cameras. They didn't find any, so the house is secure for now. My ex is getting the locks changed with better security, and he was able to get someone to come give him an estimate for the window. The contractor is coming Monday to fix it, so it's boarded up for the time being. So far, Betty is still free. The detective is working on getting a warrant for her arrest. Dan's uncle is still in police custody. So far, the other relatives haven't messaged or called anymore. Betty hasn't tried contacting Dan since the police became more heavily involved. She is running scared and has gone radio silent. The police have gone to her house several times and she never answers the door. Dan is feeling safer, but until she is behind bars, he's still paranoid and always looking over his shoulder. She's come to his job several times since the PPO was served to sit in the parking lot and try to talk to him. The manager has told her to leave and the police have been called. She'd leave before they get there. I have my first therapy appointment today. I'm nervous, but I'm ready to begin my own healing. Anyway, that's it for the update. If anything happens, you guys will know about it. And as you can imagine, other stuff has happened, but first of all, let's hear about OP's therapy. She said the next day, therapy was good. Hey guys, just wanted to let you know about my therapy appointment yesterday. I asked all of the questions I wanted to, and she was incredibly nice and understanding about my concerns. In the hour I had with her, she didn't interrupt or try to offer advice until I asked her for it. I was able to let my emotions out and just cry without any judgment or balking. It feels good to have someone who will listen and not gaslight you or make you feel wrong for feeling the way you do. I'm comfortable sharing a couple of things we talked about. She gave me advice on how to be a better and supportive friend to Dan and how I can help him find safety with me given our current dynamic. She said that given his current state, he needs people he can rely on, and I don't have to know what to say, but just being there and being supportive is better than silence and distance. No problems there then. I asked about how I can do that without him trying to re-spark our relationship, and she said that by staying firm with boundaries and remaining calm, I can do it. That's key. Don't give him a reason to think he can't see me as a friend, but don't give him false hope. Honesty and boundaries. She said I'm doing a good job maintaining my boundaries and that staying honest will go a long way. I told her about my feelings about the dynamic between my ex and Betty. While at first it seemed like a mother being overbearing and overly protective of her child, it's turned into something dark and immoral. I asked her, how can a mother look at her own child and be sexually attracted to him? She said that mental illness and grief over the loss of his father could be factors in why her behavior has spiraled so far out of control, but she's not met Betty, so she can't make a diagnosis on her mental health. She did though say that it is reprehensible and immoral to harm your child in that fashion, and even though I am not the main victim in this crime, it could take years for me to fully overcome the trauma. Hearing that made my heart sink, and I started to cry again. She said that every journey has a beginning, and when I reach the ending, the fight will be worth it. Whether or not Dan and I get back together, I'm in this fight with him, and I won't give up on him. Wow. Big, powerful words there, and it makes me sort of question what I said at the end of the last episode, when I was sort of questioning whether OP should be involved in the situation anymore, should even be looking out for Dan or really trying to help him when ultimately he's not really been trying to help himself for the last decade. But yeah, that's why I'm not a therapist, I suppose. Anyway, as for the rest of yesterday, still no word. My ex is still here at my parents' house. He and my dad are going golfing today. Mum and I are going shopping for a few needed things, and I might splurge on some retail therapy. We're all deciding where we want to go to eat out tonight. We've been arguing about it all morning. For the first time in a while, we all laughed at the silly insults and remarks. Even Dan. It feels like 2014 again. Anyway, until next time. Honestly, I'm still very conflicted as to where I stand with this. And I've read your comments on the last episode, and some of you actually agreed with me, some of you disagreed, but that's the beauty of it, I suppose. And you guys know me by now. If I've got something controversial to say, I won't shy away from saying it, even though I know it might not be popular. Like, especially, there was a video, I think, how long ago was it? 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe? Where you guys were having a go at me in the comments, and rightfully so, by the way. I got it wrong, and I'm happy to admit that. I would say this one thing though, like when you're doing this sort of live, reacting live, which is what I try and do, I try and read it as in the moment as I can so that I can give my raw and honest reactions. Sometimes I don't give myself enough time to think, or I don't really want to give myself time to think. I just want to say what I want to say, right? And that can lead to potentially getting things wrong and not thinking about certain aspects of a situation. This one I've had a long time to think about because, it's been 9 episodes now and I'm still not sure. But I do think that if I was in this situation myself as Dan and I look back on my life and I didn't realize that at some point I have to go no contact with my mum permanently, then I think that would have been a mistake. I think it has to be, because again, I'm not in that situation, so it's easy to see from the outside looking in, but come on, man. Like, it's been, as you said at the end there, OP, it feels like 2014 again. It's been over a decade of this. Over a decade. And I have to say that I completely agree with everything your therapist has said, and you do need to help him out. And I do still think you do need to offer him help, and the help you're giving him is great. But it's been like this for a long time now. Like, how long can you go on like this? Is sort of the question I'm asking. And I think you have kind of answered it yourself in a way, because you now are like, look, I'm not even thinking about our relationship right now. You're calling him your ex in these posts, which is very telling. But yeah, I don't know. It gets to the point where you look at someone like Dan and you say, listen, mate, if you're not going to help yourself, then what's the point of me even trying? I also think that the therapist raised a good point, which is what I said at the end of last episode. Like, this trauma is going to take years for you to recover from, let alone Dan. And by staying in this situation for longer and longer, and again, it's been over a decade now, that is seriously negatively impacting you and your future. And you have to think about that sometimes. I know Dan's in a worse position, but this is really screwing with you as well. Food for thought. Once again, guys, let me know down below. I think you got to help him out. You do. But it gets to a point where you're like, mate, come on, what are you actually doing here? Good and bad news. Hey, lovelies. My ex and I just got back to our house from meeting with the detective, and we spoke with a few other people about the case. We're waiting for the contractors to arrive so the window can be fixed. My parents are also here, and we're door dashing some Chipotle. So the bad news first. My ex's uncle was released on bond, but under strict orders not to contact Dan or myself. The good news? The warrant has been signed, and the police are looking for her. The detective told us that after interviewing people over the last weekend, including me, my ex, my parents, and my ex's uncle, plus the evidence given to them so far, there is enough for them to at the very least charge Betty with harassment and stalking, petty theft, intimidation of a witness, and providing false statements to police. The detective said that felony evading could also be added. While the investigation is far from over and there's so much more evidence and witness statements to collect, what Betty is currently being charged with will keep her in jail unless she were able to make bail or the evidence proves to be circumstantial. The detective has spoken with the AITA and bail will hopefully be set high. That is if Betty can be found, because so far she is still free and hiding. I did ask what my ex's uncle said in his interview out of curiosity. The detective told us that he said that Betty had called him following the PPO being served. He said that Betty was distraught because my parents and I assaulted her, then forced her son to get the PPO against her so she couldn't see him anymore. She went to his house and knocked on the door, and the female dog of a wife of her son began shouting obscenities and threats of violence at her through the Ring camera and threatened to call the police. I could only laugh and shake my head at what my ex's uncle said. What a load of BS. But it does make sense why he was so angry at us. Betty lied to him, so a small part of me can't be mad at him for reacting the way he did. He was informed of the truth though during the interview. He did say that he always suspected something weird about Betty and Dan's relationship after his brother-in-law passed away. He's now annoyed at Betty for lying to him and putting him in this situation. So when the time comes, he is willing to testify against her. But I'm unsure if I trust him or not after what he did. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. On the one hand, yeah, it's nice now that he's willing to testify against her, but on the other hand, he just took everything she said at face value and was willing to come in with violence just because of something his sister said to him, knowing that she is just a crazy person at this point. Anyway, the detective wants to interview all of the relatives, including mine, that witnessed Betty's behavior over the years. So right now they're gathering names and numbers so they can request interviews, but Betty is still yet to be caught. The police have been to her house and knocked on the door, but there was never any answer. With the warrant, they can now break down the door. We're hoping that Betty is caught, and we remain optimistic. I'll let you guys know what happens when I hear about it. And very sadly, guys, that is where I'm going to have to leave this episode. I'm sorry to do this to you. I really am. But check back tomorrow, 8 p.m. GMT, or whatever time that is, in your country, in your territory. And this is a spoiler, I'm not sure. What I will say is that for now, we're going to have, in episode 10, coming tomorrow, the conclusion of this story. If you're fortunate enough to be watching this at a time later than when it's posted, episode 10 may already be out. Check my channel if it is. You're lucky. If not, it's only 24 hours, guys. You can wait. I believe in you. Sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger. I promise you it's worth it. And to be honest, the reason I'm doing this is to make sure that episode 10 is long enough. Otherwise, there just wouldn't be enough content for episode 10. Is that a spoiler? I don't know. Am I telling the truth? I don't know. Just trust me on this one. Okay? Trust me. The wait will be worth it. It really will. But yeah, look, that's all I can say right now. Sorry. If you hate me, guys. As Pep Guardiola once famously said. Get in the comments. Let me know. And don't cheat. Don't spoil it for yourselves. Let me know in the comments down below what you think is going to happen next. Do you think Betty will be caught? And if so, How? I want to hear your thoughts down below. But yeah, get ready for tomorrow. Turn notifications on so you don't miss it. The 10th and final episode of the Bat Crazy Betty saga. I will see you there.